Start recording now. Okay, so we are going to be doing some stuff on these welders here, guys. If you were watching the other video or you haven't watched it yet, I just went through a whole bunch of them, but I was going to show you guys some of the ones that I had picked and the one that I actually ordered, okay? You're going to have a little bit of noise in the background. The diesel heater is firing up in the corner back there. It's like 60 degrees in here, somewhere around that. I've got a temperature gauge over here, but it's right next to the back of a monitor, and so it reads wrong. So on Amazon, they make it kind of difficult to search out particular stuff. $229 for a 50-foot cord. Holy moly. $109 for a 15-foot MIG welding replacement for titanium unlimited welder. Wow. I'd love to be able to like just buy all sorts of little stuff like this and figure out what works the best. And one of the things that about inverter technology is I don't trust it because it's cheap Chinese technology and they very easily could go bad. Let's look up here MIG gas welder. Okay, now some of you know I've got a big huge Miller AC/DC HF power source for TIG and arc welding, and I would like to replace it with something new that doesn't take up room for when we move, because it does weigh, you're not gonna see it, but it's like well, maybe you can. No, the monitor's in the way. It's behind the monitor behind me. Anyway, it weighs probably a little over 300 pounds. Let's see if maybe I can pull it up. So I have one of these, the Metal Man, and it doesn't have any of the fancy features. It's just 80 amps. I opened it up and it looks pretty much like all the new ones though that I've seen the other people taking part. Okay, so Miller Econo Twin HF. Let's see what we get here. So here's one right here. You see it's on a wood pallet. It doesn't have wheels. Mine has wheels. I think mine's missing this plaque right here. Yeah, mine don't have a serial number. Lovely. Because that's not suspicious, but it probably got knocked off. This part here on mine isn't there anymore where it's red. But these are pretty big. I don't know if we can get like a good enough picture. Here's one right here. This actually almost looks like mine. There's no tag there, and I don't think there was supposed to be. You see the other one right here has this tag over here. I don't think mine was supposed to have the tag there, unless it's just covering up that. But anyway, mine looks just like that. So it's basically a power source. But let me go back in here a little bit better. You can kind of see, here's one here. You see how big it is? It's not small. Mine's got that Miller logo on it. Mine's in really nice shape though. This is a different type. And mine's got the rub over here too, but let's see what else we got. So before that, I had a even bigger welder. I had the Dial-Arc HF. Here's a good picture of, kind of give you an idea. That's a crack in the sidewalk. There's the welder. They're not small. Let's see if we can find out any for sale stuff. Shopping. $400, $500, $450, $395, $450, $500. Here's a dial arc HF right here. This is what I had, and I didn't have the matching Miller cooler, but I still have the foot switch, the Miller foot switch. But anyway, these are pretty big welders. Let me go over here. This thing is about 40 inches long, somewhere around there. Weighs 500 plus pounds. That's your high frequency thing. That's all your stuff for the gas valves. I mean, this thing's a freaking monster. It's huge. So I had a pump for mine, and it was like no good. It was some kind of aftermarket one. So those things are dead reliable, but you know, in this day and age, they're just really a pain to move around. Okay, so let's get back into Amazon here. Let me narrow down these prices to we're gonna go let me go 320 and click that, and then Amazon shipping only. 1 through 48 of 1,000 results. It doesn't sound quite right. So there's a bunch of welders on here like this one. That they're gonna do all the voltages and gas, I think. And you can see about how big they are. They're 6 by 9 by whatever. And if it says Art Captain on it, or it says Yes Welder, it's going to automatically cost more than it should. Hey, here's something similar from Art Captain, $179. A Yes Welder, $259. So you have other welders like the Vivor right here. You have welders like this one here, which here's a Yes Welder, 185 MIG welder, flux core, MIG, gas spool, gun, MIG, lift, TIG, multi-process welder. It is the 185D Pro. I don't know. This looks very similar to what I just ordered, except for a different brand. Let's see. Some of these other ones. This Azuno company seems to be a sleeper welder. Like, people don't really know about them, and so they're not overly priced yet. What happens is somebody gets a welder for free to weld with and make videos on YouTube, and the shit goes out of fucking crazy. Okay, here's the one I bought right here. See it? Alright. And I don't know when it will be here because we got Black Friday going on, but it said Saturday or Sunday or something like that. These are probably just another rebadged welder of some other such. This company has like 2 or 3 different ones, and I do a lot of detective work when I'm ordering on Amazon, and I hyperfixate on stuff as she says. So I go and I look, I read all the reviews, and one of the first things that caught my attention is that metal roller assembly, the wire feed assembly. So if it's not completely made out of pot metal and it breaks, I can probably weld it. So also, it appears it would hold a 10, 11 pound spool. So That's good. We look at here. There's a really good video on this, on one of the reviews, but it popped up on an even cheaper version of this welder that I found that I was like almost ready to buy, and then I realized I was actually looking at the slightly different version. This says MIG Welder 200A, Synergic wire feed welder, portable welding, but it's actually the MIG MMA 200 Pro. So if we pop into here, we see we have gas on the back. We can also see it says 110, 220, dual voltage, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Gas MIG, flux core MIG, stick, and lift TIG. And it shows on here, it says FE plus CO2. That's going to be MIG, metal inert gas. FE plus mix, that's going to be wire feed with CO2 argon mix. And we have flux. And then, right down here, it says AL plus AR. That's going to be aluminum plus argon. But as far as I know, this welder doesn't do aluminum. But here it is right here. So this welder doesn't have ACHF. So I don't know how you would weld. However, people weld aluminum with a spool gun on a wire feed, and that's, last time I checked, DC. So back in the day, they used to have wire feeds from Harbor Freight that they were so fucking cheap that they had a transformer in the wire feed. The trigger was always fucking hot. The only thing the trigger did was turn on the electric motor to feed the wire. If you touched the wire on the workpiece, it was going to arc before the wire was even moving. These things had no bridge rectifiers or diodes in them whatsoever, and so you were AC flux core welding. And if you've ever done any kind of AC welding, you know it's absolutely splattery and fucking messy compared to DC. It's not as smooth. And then you take flux core, which is already shitty and fucking splattery to start with, and boy, you have a splat-tastic piece of crap Harbor Freight, $79, $99, $129 general welding, whatever fucking. I had one and I couldn't get rid of it quick enough. It was horrible. So, in fact, you'd be better off to just take one and just stick weld with it at, like, 70 amps. Let's get into the rest of this though. So it shows post-gas, pre-gas, some other stuff. It looks like a cleaning emblem. Now this may be just some kind of fucking default like display, but if you don't have AC, I don't know. I see this little inductance thing. Well, I actually don't see anything for cleaning, but pre-gas and post-gas, that would be for TIG. So that's pretty cool. My welder over there doesn't have a way of doing that. I have the valve on the whip. So what is it called? The WV17, WP17. So I've already got possibly a whip that'll plug right into this. It's actually one of the Harbor Freight ones, which are like grossly overpriced. So one thing about TIG is I don't like filling up the bottle, because I have a bottle that's like almost waist high, and it's like $40 or $50 to fill it up every time, and you can only weld if you're flowing like less than 20 cubic feet per hour, or what is it, per minute? Your average setting on, I think this is an 80 cubic foot bottle, and you're flowing 20 cubic feet per hour, you're going to get 4 hours out of a fucking bottle, and then you boom, another $50. So that gets expensive really fast. And yeah, if you buy an even bigger bottle, you save some money on on the gas and the fill up. Now with MIG, you can go straight up CO2, which is a little bit cheaper than CO2 argon mix. I've ran both. I don't really see a difference. Maybe the mix is a little cleaner. I'm not sure. But anyway. So, let's come in here and look at these other welders that this company is offering. $82. Like, I almost... If I have some money from stuff I sold, but like if I didn't have to worry about money, I think I would order all 3 of these things that this company has and test them all and, you know, maybe do a giveaway or something. But this is the $82 one that I originally clicked on, and this thing is dual voltage, gas. I think it looks like the MIG whip is a little bit different. I don't know how big these plugs are. They look like they're a little too small for me to use my TIG. So, large LED display matches wire feed and voltage automatically. That's that Synergic. 200 amp Synergic MIG weld wire feed, 4-in-1 gas MIG, gas flux MIG, stick TIG, lift TIG, multiple welder machine process, 110, 220 dual voltage welder with IGBT inverter and LCD screen. The description on these welders are exactly the same. They say that they're both 19 pounds if you scroll through here. And they do have the correct picture in both ads, but the information on them is exactly the same. 19.9 pounds they say it are. Some of these welders are just too fucking light, and it's cool that they're light, but it also is light because they have skimped. I'd rather have something on the heavier side. So this one's got the gas on the back and all that. So this is like an $82 240 volt wire feed welder that has gas, that can do stick, that can do TIG, and that's just nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. You can't go and even buy a stick welder for $82 at Harbor Freight. I think the cheapest thing they got right there is probably $199. Let's take a look. Hobo Fright. I almost typed it. Harbor Freight. HarborFreight.com. I haven't bought anything there in like over a year. Black Friday sale. So you mean the prices are now what they should normally be. I have one of these carts, the older one. The 5-drawer mechanics box. I have the green one. I love it. It's in the house. That's what I used to use at the shop, and then I had the 44-inch toolbox to match it. And then they started making these that are like a copy of the Snap-on one. I've also got this one, a black one, and it's not like what they call Series 2 or whatever. It's like older, I don't know, probably from 2015 or something. Anyway, let's see here. Shop by department, welding. Where? Shop all welding. Welders. Okay. So, multiprocess welders, MIG and flux welders, TIG welders, stick welders. Okay, so the cheapest one's probably going to be a stick welder, $149 for this 80 amp one. They've been selling this thing for years, and I don't know anybody personally that owns it, but yeah, it goes to 80 amps just like my little welder, but it is in fact the ground clamp looks the same. Chicago Electric Welding. Anyway, so that's $149. That's more than what we spent. And then you have the unlimited 140 for $349. You got the stick 225 welder. I don't know if these are transformer based or not. So your most basic stick welder from Harbor Freight is $299 for like something that we can find on Amazon that'll be like supporting TIG and everything. And that's all they got for stick welders. They used to have another orange Omni one. What is underneath this category? Arc welders. Okay. Okay, making Flux. So, $129, you get the titanium. It's on sale from $149. Still more than what we spent. You have the Omni Pro 220 industrial multiprocessor welder with dual voltage, $1,099. We have the unlimited 200 professional multiprocess, blah blah blah, $799. 170 professional. So, like, this would probably be the equivalent of like what I bought. You know, except for there's no fancy menu. And I don't really know how good these are. With Harbor Freight, you never can tell. It's hit or miss. We have a switch. I had one of the welders that had the high and low. They don't sell it no more. It was a wire feed welder. It was high and low, and it was like this one right here. Except for this is probably the other one. Oh, this might be it. $119. This is the cheapest welder you can get at Harbor Freight. See? Min and max, on and off, and then you have a wire speed. And it is horrible ass clamp. And it can't be converted like some of their old blue ones that they used to sell. Those could be converted. And they'd have a thing on the back. So this one can't be converted. And it doesn't have a rectifier, so it puts out straight up AC voltage. When all wire feeds are supposed to be rectified. It's supposed to be DC. Not spitting out AC. So, and then we have they have the 240 volt version, and it's also got min and max 1 and 2 on and off, and wire feed speed. I think it might accept gas. And if you see here, these holes here, these things are not meant to be removed. You can't just unplug them. It does say MIG/Flux, so I think it does have the ability for gas. Now, let's see if we can find accessories. Welding accessories. Now, flux core wire is fucking expensive. That's the other thing. $24 for a spool of flux core wire. That's crazy. Hey, you can watch this guy on YouTube. Hey, I got the new Vulcan. Hey, Vulcan. I'm just trying to find the wire, eh? Oh, they got plasma cutters too. They're not cheap either. What I was trying to find is welding accessories, just to show you something else. Okay, consumables. Accessories, yeah, it's probably under accessories. You got helmets, clamps. I mean, they do have, you know, somewhat okay prices on some of this stuff. Certainly not $79 for their Olsen brand named homemade brand of crap. Look at this. $89 for an argon thing. $72 for this. I mean, like, you know you're getting hosed. Here's a welding table. $149. That might be good. It actually looks like it might be legit. Oh yeah, I like it. Cool. But what you do is you put, you know, the little clamps through the holes and all that fun stuff. So that's why it is the way it is. I wonder, does it come with all that? If it does, that's pretty cool. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. I don't have time for that. I don't have money for that. I was just trying to find the torch. Here is a spool gun for $249. What in the freaking actual hell? You got MIG pliers for $11. That's not bad. Okay, so here is the Vulcan torch that I bought. Here's a spool gun, another one. Now, and they do this bullshit. Well, oh, this one fits the titanium, but it doesn't fit the Vulcan. Oh, okay. Well, that's fucking horse shit. So there's a couple of the titanium ones that are not compatible with this. Now, this is not a bad torch, but I can tell you right now, save your money unless you just absolutely need it, and go buy something off of Amazon. This is overpriced, really, really overpriced. It should be at least $45. I got mine for like $79 because I think it went up. It uses the DIN SE style, the industry standard DIN Z style gas through connections in 25mm and 50mm sizes. I don't know if there was supposed to be multiple sizes in it. Mine only came with one. It's 150 amps at 60% duty. But anyway, yeah, buy it on Amazon. Buy it on Amazon. Trust me. So back to this thing here. This is $82. So you see where I'm going with this? We just looked at all this crap. Oh, and if you wanted to look even worse, you'd see how much the AC/DC TIG welders are. Holy crap. So anyway, I saw this earlier and I was like, that's the one I'm going to buy. Look, it's got a metal MIG roller and it can take a full-size spool from what I can tell. It's got gas. It's dual voltage. I'm like, yeah. So I went down here and I scrolled down and I just kind of glanced through and I got down to the reviews. Is this some video of it? Interesting. Now, what's really bad about Amazon, sellers should be forced to put every single item in its own listing. That way they're not grouped together with other items. So if you look in here, there's a 1-star rating. Oh God, they won't let me. I'm not gonna fucking sign in to look at this shit. So, and it still lets me see it anyway. So this is for the 200 Pro. This is for the 300. This is for the 200 Pro. This is for the 200M, 200 Pro. That one doesn't say. This one's 200 Pro. It's a Vine review, so you can't trust a damn thing they say. They need to do away with the Vine program. These people are just getting free shit and fucking saying, oh, it's great. It's great. They fucking kiss ass. I mean, every once in a while I'll see a Vine guy give something a really bad review. But I think that they can't pull that off too many times. So, you don't even know what the reviews are for on the welder that you're buying because there's 3 of them in this listing that are all different. So, when I watched this video, and I realized that it wasn't the same video after I was getting ready to order the other one. Let's watch this for a second, I guess.
Millermatic is actually the industry standard name brand MIG welder. If you're doing serious industrial welding, and I have access to those machines. So what I want to do today is weld the bead with this. We're going to see how this stands up to a 3 welder because if you're not aware, this is actually a multi-process machine. It does not come with a TIG torch. It does come with the electrode holder for the stick welding. I have tried it, burned some electrodes there. It works well. I use it mostly for the MIG. The stick works just fine. I just got some to test it out. I'm not going to be showing that in the video today, but I just wanted to make you aware that it is a multi-process machine. There's wire in there. Let's turn it on here. So I have it hooked up to 220 volts right now. It works really well on 110, and I have not needed the 220 for anything I've actually done with it yet. But I wanted to test it on the 220 volts to be sure it's an accurate comparison with the 220 volt Multimatic. Let's see if I can get a better picture of this here. A little bit. The light is just glaring. I'm trying to close the door.
There we go.
There we go. So this is how you cycle through your options here. That would be stick weld, manual MIG, Synergic MIG, and TIG. I want to actually show you. I'll just show you the MIG feature here. So notice how these settings down here, all of these are only available on the MIG settings. So TIG, it's not there. Stick, it's not there. But both MIGs have all these options here. You just cycle through them with these buttons. I'm using, so this is like we're welding iron. FE stands for iron, and I'm using a mixed gas, CO2 and argon. My wire thickness is 0.030 inches. This is in millimeters. This is the same as 0.030 inch wire thickness. And this is actually to determine how your MIG gun is going to work with a trigger. So 2-touch trigger means you squeeze and let off, and it welds and doesn't weld. 4-touch means you can squeeze, let off, and it'll continuously weld a bead until you squeeze, let off again. That would be a 4-touch weld, or 4-touch trigger setting there. It stands for 2-touch, 4-touch. And then spot welding would be you hold it, it'll automatically shut off after like a second or so, and you can just keep going down the line without having to make sure you get even spots without having to like guess, when to have the trigger on your own. So let's set this up here. I'm going to show you the Synergic feature. So actually the manual MIG feature has like, you adjust the voltage, right, and the wire speed separately, right? The Synergic feature, you don't change the voltage, you only change the amps, and see the voltage moves in sync with the amps. If you try to change the voltage, it'll give you like an error code, because it's not on the Synergic feature. You don't need to adjust the voltage at all. You just do the amps, and it will do the voltage for you based on these settings here, okay? So
if this thing does 200 amps, I'm really like, wow.
Synergic MIG welding, you have to have the input correct so it can automatically.
Because my other wire feed only does 130, okay, and my miller only does 150.
Very thick piece of steel here. I don't know what that is. Not very thick though. So realistically, this could pretty well handle a 1/4 inch thick 40. Would probably be pretty realistic to do a nice bead on that piece of steel there. So now let's do a weld and see how it does.
It looks like he went to my filming school.
So that came out really good. As you can see, that's awesome. That looks really, really good. Now it's important to note that people usually buy these relatively inexpensive MIG welders to use, with flux core wire. I'm not using flux core. Okay, I obviously have my hook up to gas here. So
I got gas.
your weld is not going to look that good with this machine if you're not using solid wire with a shielding gas. Okay, flux core wire will not be a pretty weld like that. Just to be very clear. Okay, here's the Millermatic. It's actually a 210, not a 220. I misspoke earlier, but it's a Millermatic 210.
Those are beasts.
Like I said, look it up. This is a $3,000 machine. Again, it's running on the gas, not flux.
All right, enough of this.
I guess 210 amps. So we're going to see how this compares to.
So that was the video I saw, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not the same welder. Okay, this is a different welder. And then I'm like, well, which one is it? I'm like, wait. Oh, is it this one? Or is it this one? So, and then, to make matters even more interesting, if you scroll down here, there should be like a compare thing. And it will offer another welder that's not even in the listing. And it's like actually even cheaper, but it has bad reviews. This one's really, it's got a couple of 5 stars, a couple of 4 stars, and 1 star, but there's only 11 reviews on it, so it puts it pretty bad. But I just think everybody gets on here, they're like, I want a Yes Welder, I want a Tulaloom, I want a Art Captain, I want a fucking, you know, something that looks like a Lincoln, you know, something that looks like a Miller. I don't want orange that looks like a Harbor Freight. And so I think that means that nobody really wants to buy these, and they're not like selling, so that the supply and demand is not there. I'm not sure where the other one is because, well, it's a little bit different than when I'm on my phone. So we'll have to keep scrolling through. You're just going to have to bear with me. Here's another welder I was actually thinking about buying until I realized you couldn't remove the whip. And so, well, maybe you can. I'm not 100% sure. But this is... this would be a great portable welder for the fact that it just runs on 120 volts, but it has gas. So that's really important. But one of the other things that I didn't like, I'm about 100% sure that it has a plastic MIG roller wheel assembly. See, look. Here's an Argon RX welder, Argon regulator with a hose, $30. And I think it was like $85 all by itself on Harbor Freight. Now, I've ordered from RX Weld. I ordered a TIG Weld Cup, Pyrex Cup kit. Perfectly fine. Good stuff. So basically, all these welders are going to look like this from now on. They're going to be, you know, knobs and buttons and LED displays, you know, and they're all going to be like, it's just going to be really hard to tell what's what. So that's why I spent a lot of time on here looking at stuff. Plus they have a new AI thing that kind of recommends based on, you know, stuff that you look at. Okay, here's the other one right here, 109, but it's got a 25% off coupon. Now, it looks a little dated, but when we get in here and we look at it, we can see it's got that same awesome metal MIG roller assembly. And we look in the front, it's like probably more durable than the other one. It just doesn't have a plastic face. It's got metal instead. And I did not buy it because I feel like the Pro version offered a few features that this probably doesn't have, and I figure, well, I mean, it's already still pretty cheap, but this one, you could get this one for like $80 plus tax or something like that. They're all 200 amp. You're not going to get more than 200 amp out of one of these welders unless you have some gigantic 250 amp like transformer power supply thing. And I don't think these things are even going to put out 200, to be honest, but I mean, they do claim it. But so you got 11-pound spool, and you got the gas on the back. And you look on the back, you can see that it says 110, 220, so we know it's dual voltage. It says AC 36 volts on the back. I don't know what that would be for. Probably a spool gun, maybe. But it's got a little thing there. And maybe it's for a spool gun. I don't know. So this one comes with a MIG torch, electrode holder, ground clamp, 2 tips, a brush hammer, and then you have this cord right here, which I don't really care for because, like I said, I feel like these cords are kind of dangerous and possibly illegal because you have 240 volts going to a 120 volt plug. You plug something in there, it's got 120 on each leg. So normally one would be a neutral and one would be a hot and one would be a ground. Well, they probably have a ground and no neutral and 2 hots. And so that is not good. You plug that thing in, somebody screws around and uses that for something else. I mean, poof, forget it. Now, one of the nice things, though, about having it, though, means that you don't need to look for this to use this thing on 120 volts. It also means that it probably wasn't intended to run on 120 volts, really. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't intended to run on 240. So, anyway, it's just something to take note of, because the other one's the other way around. Which means the other one, when you want to run on 120, you have to have this adapter. You can't run otherwise. So, this one has 3.5 stars. There's only 7 ratings. And I thought, man, we got 109 with a 25% coupon. And I think I calculated it was going to be like $89 out the door. Whereas I think the other one ended up being quite a bit more. The other one was 108 plus tax. And I think I ended up being 119 after I paid for it. So, you know, almost $30 more, but like it's really, is it worth it? Is it not? I don't know. It depends. The reason I bought the more expensive one is because I liked the way it looked better. It looked like it had more control of what you can do with the welder, and it looked like it was more suited towards making it easier. So they both have the, if you look at it, it says Synergic. I think it does. This one might be full manual. But it's still 4-in-1. Synergetic control. Yeah, it's got all the stuff on it. So, like, this is literally like $79 or something with the coupon. Where the hell is my calculator? Anyway, I would say any 3 of these are going to be a sleeper of a deal on Amazon. I shouldn't even make a video about it because the fucking price will go up, you know? That's what's happened with all the other YouTube channels doing videos on the Yes Welders. So, don't tell nobody about it, okay? Just go buy one and don't say anything. And I'm going to leave no links to make it hard to find them. So, I don't think there was anything else on here that really caught my attention, other than maybe the Hone welder is supposed to be pretty good. According to the Project Farm guy, they punch above their weight a little bit in amperage. I don't really care for that S-shape thing. Here's another one of the other brand. It's $83. PANERGYRIC. Or I don't know, how do you pronounce their name? That's something anyway. PANERGYRIC. Well, it's a better name than like Yes Welder. I saw another one that was a copy of Yes Welder. It said Yes Right. And some other stuff. There was some pretty weird names. So this is their gasless version. Oh shit! It's $63, guys. Wow, dude. It's dual voltage. $63? That's fucking nuts. 110, 220, but now it's a 3-in-1, so it has MIG, lift, TIG, and stick. So you could buy this just for a $63 stick welder. Wow. Now I bet it has a plastic wheel. I bet you this one's plastic. Uh-oh. So let's have a look-see here. It's got to be plastic, man. Oh, yeah. See, look. That's plastic fantastic right there. Now, I'm not saying don't buy it, but I want mine to be metal. And that's why I specifically ordered the one that I did. And that is not going to be able to accept a full-size spool, which is kind of a bummer. So you're going to be, you know, stuck with the splatterific, you know, flux core. But it's crazy. It is dual voltage. It's got one of those kind of tiggly wigglies. It just slides off. Now, if you're watching this, you're going to see he's going to cut the wire. Probably. You know what I do? I open up the welder and I roll the spool back. I don't fucking waste wire. There's no reason to waste wire unless the wire is bent and fucked up and, you know, especially flux core. You want to spend $29 for a roll? That shit's fucking overpriced. So, let's watch this guy weld really quick. Right. So, I think this company is doing big things. Another company that I think, you know, that a lot of people don't pay attention to is Vevor. So see how this Vevor looks really similar to a lot of the other welders? And they make so many different products, guys. There's that same crazy-ass cord. But, they make tons of stuff. And I don't know. Look, it's metal. See, that's the other thing. And you really, really, if at all possible, want to make sure that that part is metal. I've never had one break, but it just reminds me of the, oh God, what do you call it? On the Creality Ender 3 printers. The little wheel puts the tension on the filament. It's very similar. The extruder. Yep. Reminds me of the extruder. So there are just tons and tons of welders on here for wire feed, for stick, for TIG. One other one I wanted to show you before we jump off of here. I don't think it'll pop up. Here's another one that I think might be the same company. Hitbox. If you look at the display, a lot of things are very similar. If you look in here, that one looks to be maybe black metal, but I don't think so. Probably plastic. Do not buy a Forney 271 Easy Weld. These are horrible. All the Forney welders are, and they're $295. That's the other problem. Here's a Hitbox 119 dual voltage. It's got an oscilloscope on it. Spectrum analyzer. Gasless. I won't buy a MIG welder that only does flux. You're stuck if you do. Back in the day, they used to have a lot of welders that were for sale where it was optional. But here's another company I see a lot of. I don't know how you pronounce their name. HZXVO Vogan. Kind of odd, like the little meters stick out. And you see this little design in the corner? That's straight off of Canva. Like, they designed this shit with Canva. I swear to God. You've seen my intro screen? I have that little thing there, and it's meant to go in the corner of something. You design a screen. So, and this is truly what they look like inside for the most part. Somebody's made it look all fancy, but that's basically what you have. And then a strap comes off the top of that heat sink, and I think that's the switched positive. But yeah, they're pretty much like that. I'm gonna go one more page here real quick. Okay, so we need AC, DC, TIG. Just do that. We don't type in the terms. Okay, so this is a company that people really, really like. It's $311. It's the only one that has like a normal sounding name, Sunstack. And they have the CB radio microphone connector on the front here. That's for the switch. So gas line. Another thing too that you're just not probably going to be able to avoid in these cheaper welders is they're probably going to give you leads that have copper clad aluminum. Yeah, that's right, copper clad aluminum. And you can tell if you get in there and scrape the wires or cut the ends of them, they'll be shiny. They won't be orange. It's a big problem with Chinese products, specifically anything with wires and car stereo amps, tattoo machines, copper-clad coils. It's bad. So anyway, this is a multi-process AC HF TIG, and that's going to allow you to do that aluminum. And we got a picture here of stacking some dimes. Did I ever show you guys my aluminum welds? Now might be a good time to do that. Let me go grab them. I think I know where they're at. Oh man, my leg hurts. God, I'm getting old. So like recently, I've been in a lot of pain because there's something going on. But I'm hoping I know where these welds are. I should have paused the video. Where is my welds? Where's my welds? I had just, a bunch of aluminum practice welds. Well, I'm not sure now. That kind of sucks. I thought I saved them. I mean, I know I did, but I just don't know where they are. Alright. We'll find them later. So anyway, there's another welder on here somewhere that I bookmarked that's actually under 300. And it's another one. I think it's orange. I'm not sure that these are going to actually show up on the camera. So these are from a couple of years ago when I stopped. And I went through probably 5 or 6 bottles at like 45 bucks a piece. So this is, I don't know how thick this shit is. It's not real thin. So this is just me running stringer beads. I've never tried to stack dimes. I don't really know if that's possible for me to do. And then, I don't know the order of these, but... So, I'm like, okay, I got the hang of it. Now if I need to fix something, I probably can do it. It's probably not going to look great. But, anyway, I thought it was kind of neat that I'd share that with you. So, anyway, we see if we can find the other welder. See, now this has foot pedal capability, which from I understand, guys that do aluminum say there is no way to do it without having a foot pedal. I've heard other people say, oh, that's BS. So, I don't know. So, you can get that one for $311. I think there's a Yes welder for $493. I mean, all these are way cheaper than the cheapest thing that you can get at like Harbor Freight. I think the cheapest thing you can get there is like $1,000. So here's a TIG 200P AC/DC Pro, a Yes welder, and people freaking love these things. This has got 4.5 stars. There is 1,424 reviews. Now they might all be all for this one, because they also have another one, which is a lot cheaper. Look, it looks the same. So this is the same welder without the AC. $167. Not, you see it's changing? That's the difference, guys. So that's still an affordable option. A aluminum welder, a welder that will do aluminum for under $493. There's that one, and then the other one is going to be the Hitbox, I think. The Arc Captain AC/DC 200 amp, that's $649, and that's from $899. So they're more expensive. Then the Tuluium, that one is $379. AC/DC TIG welder with pulse dual voltage, blah blah blah. And then you have the Weld Pro, which I think these are pretty good welders, from what I remember. $664. What I think it probably is it reminds me of an Alpha. And I don't know, but you got foot switch. You have a proper, absolute proper ground clamp. That's nice right there. That's how they all used to be back in the day. That's how the ground clamps were. When I was taking welding classes in high school and grade school, not grade school, well, yeah, technically, so I went to a school that was K through 8, and I think in 6th and 7th grade, somewhere 7th or 8th grade, I was taking welding, and I had a hard time with that class, actually. I struggled with welding. It was just they kind of throw you out there, and they're like, they talk about it in the class, they're like, all right, go make it happen. Okay. And that's how it was back in the 80s. Here's another one. $294, man. Under $300. So here's the shit box right here. I mean the hit box. But this one is $294. It looks suspiciously like the one company that I'm ordering from. I mean, it's just like, I think these are maybe like solar inverters, where they're all kind of made by the same company in the same factory. So, is that a foot pedal connection? Now, they have certain welders here, too. They got TIG, stick, MIG, and a plasma cutter. And that would be like the ultimate, but if something goes wrong with that thing, you're going to be pissed. So that's why I think maybe you get the cheapest AC/DC TIG welder that you can find, like maybe this one, okay? You split the difference and you go get, you know, well, you don't need it. It's got MIG. TIG welder, AC, well, actually, I don't know. No, this one doesn't have MIG. But some of them do. You don't really need a stick welder. There's too many other welders that will do the stick. They're all like multifaceted at this point. So, I mean, if you really do, you're probably working in a shop and you're not buying any of this crap anyway. So, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Fifunky. Fifionk. This is the one I was making fun of in the other video. So, $294 from $309. So once it goes back on sale, it's still pretty cheap. Says I could get it Saturday if I order in 5 minutes. Oh my god, it's almost midnight. Time flies when you're having fun looking at junk on Amazon. So, what is this thing? Weld Pro 155. I like the way the style of these welders. You know, they kind of remind me of a yellow Miller. It's slanted back. It's just, I don't know. It's classy. But I don't know if they're any good. 200 amp AC DC aluminum TIG welder, $750. Proper ground clamps. So you got Alpha, Weld Pro, Everlast. You know, there's a few other ones. The Eastwood welders are usually supposed to be pretty good. What's this one? $334 AC DC TIG welder. I don't know what this one is. It's kind of weird. Whoa. Look at that. MIG bloom with 2 little bombs in the fucking thing. That is an interesting MIG torch. TIG torch. I don't know about that one, guys. But you see, it looks like the same menu. Yep. So, if I was going to get a MIG welder, I'd have to sit here and sift through all this freaking crap, too. Here's a prime weld. Now, these people like these. This is supposed to be a pretty good welder. I don't know if it uses a transformer. Nope, it says IGBT. Okay. Foot pedal. Crappy ass clamp. Horrible face shield. But it does have CK Worldwide whip. That's cool. I had a CK torch on my water cool thing. Yep. Awesome. So I don't know if I would buy that one, but oh my god, guys, this thing has 5 stars. Serious. Look at that. 4.8 out of 5, but 1,400 reviews. Now, another thing you got to wonder is some of these reviews look a little funny on some of these. Are they AI generated? It's really hard to say. Here's a Alpha TIG 203XI AC DC TIG welder. Wow, that's cheaper than I thought. $689. 4.5 stars out of 600 ratings. So these are supposed to be like really good. But I'm looking at that ground clamp and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about all that, buddy. Let's take a look at the other one. 715. I don't know what the difference is. New 2024. New. They both says new. The 203XI and this is the 225. Well, it would lead us to believe, if their numbers are correct, that that one has more power. Here is another one, the Lotos. Here's the Eastwood right here. Lots of shops have these Eastwoods. Eastwood, what are like in the classic car industries or something, aren't they? I can't remember. But, yeah. Nothing fancy on it, but I think it's, you know, probably got some really nice duty cycle. It says 60, but hard to say. But yeah, I mean, they're well known from TV shows, and you know, you see these pictures of people using them, and you get the Eastwood, you got the TIG and the MIG on a little cart. You got all of it. Like, that's up kind of high, guys. I don't know about you. That would make me a little worried. So I think that's all I could really think of. So here you have the this is probably the Yes welder that popped up at the Goodwill with the broken MIG. Okay, we get plasma, we got TIG, and we got the gas there. So CT520, CT520, and they wanted $200 for the one that was there, and it was broken. So like, really, if I want this thing right now, I could buy this for $379. And that would honestly be super, super good deal. Because if you think about it, this thing does everything. The only thing I'm unsure about is I'm not 100% sure that it does aluminum, actually. I don't think it does. I think there's another welder that's in the $700 price range. Because it says here, $499. And then they have another welder that's literally $1,000. It's the First Tress CT 2050 7-in-1. Now this one here, 5-in-1 cut HF TIG, pulse TIG, spot TIG, but it doesn't say anything about AC DC. And you have to have AC in order to do that type of TIG. So it has HF, so it's got, you know, you don't have to scratch start it. But yeah, no, I mean, if it just did aluminum, it would be a pretty good deal. But no, there's no reason to do that. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, I think we're at the end of the deal. Here's a Forney AC/DC TIG welder. I bet you this thing has got some ridiculous price on it. $2,000. Now, aren't these like made in Italy or something? I don't know. Another Weld Pro, $1,000 Weld Pro. What is this? A Hax hoe? Hax IAOER. Hex Highover. I can't pronounce it. AC/DC 220 pulse TIG, $499. We could be sitting here all night, guys. We really could. There's another Eastwood for $1,000. Here's an Everlast. $899 looks like, maybe. Another Eastwood. So when Amazon does this, they don't really want you to buy from them. Everlast Cyclone, MIG and Stick, Everlast 2021 Everlast Power Take 185 AC/DC. Okay. But I saw down below where it was like probably $8.99. It means that Amazon took it away their buy it now box. $8.99 one offer is what it says. All right. So thanks for watching, and man, I don't know. I don't know when I'm gonna get this thing, but I'm excited. But I really didn't need it. But I'm just like, I didn't even really save that much money on it on Black Friday. But we'll just see. I just wanted to test the waters out. It's like I've got a Lincoln over there that I bought broken for $150, so I'm under $150. So I feel like I'm doing good here. You know, I'm not spending too much money. I could drive to Phoenix twice and I would spend more than that in diesel. So anyway, guys, I will catch you later. I think I'm going to try and go to bed because I'm tired. So I'll catch you later.